Welcome to Humanity Rising. My name's Alessio, and I'll be your narrator today. Nearly 500 supporters get early access to our stories, including brand new episodes of Sunspire Academy and Fran and Reki. If you'd like to unlock early access and support new episodes and future series, tap join below to become a Humanity Rising member. Please my channel subscribe. Now, let's get into today's story. They didn't scream when we tore through their ships. They smiled. The words were still echoing in High Commander Vectal's mind as he watched the battle replay on the holotable. Frame by frame, the Terran cruiser was reduced to slag by concentrated plasma fire, its hull imploding under pressure, oxygen and metal vaporizing. It should have been a clean kill. A statement. But instead, the humans had let it happen. No distress signal. No evasive maneuvers. Just a slow drift into the firing line. And when the camera zoomed in, before the hull cracked open, you could see them. The Terrans. Lined up on the observation deck, staring directly into the lens. One raised a hand. Not in surrender. In a wave. That same cruiser, one of 6 decoys, had transmitted a low-frequency pulse just seconds before destruction. A code no Varnock vessel recognized, but one the AI defense net flagged as anomalous. 20 minutes later, the real trap was sprung. "Sir," said Sub-Warlord Hrask, his mandibles twitching nervously. "More sectors going dark. No comms. No scans. Just a void." Vectal clenched his four-clawed fist. "That's impossible. We mapped the Terran homeworld to its core. Their colonies are young, weak, unarmed." Hrask swallowed. "Then what's doing this?" The silence stretched like a noose. The Varnock Empire had ruled this arm of the galaxy for over 11,000 cycles. Born in acid storms, raised on brutal culling rituals, and evolved to hunt in the most extreme gravity wells, they were the undisputed apex predators. Their warforms had ripped apart Screeth Hive matriarchs, devoured Trellex biotitans, and silenced the methane swamps of Gull in record time. They had seen every prey species scream, "Beg, die," until the Terrans. First contact had been disappointing. A single outpost ship, broadcasting peace. No fangs, no armor, not even reactive plating. They had bones made of calcium. Calcium. Vectal remembered the council laughter. They sent a boarding party. The Terrans offered them tea. Then came the war. It should have been over in weeks. Instead, the humans disappeared. Now, entire Varnock fleets were being unmade in silence. Not in war. In vanishment. 1 second there, then gone. No wreckage. No screams. Just the void. Some sectors had terrain anomalies, sure. Some outer systems were unstable. But 27 systems lost in one rotation? No pirate clans had that power. No black hole clusters aligned that neatly. Only one name remained on every corrupted system log. Terra Exergo. It didn't translate. They tried. It didn't need to. 3 cycles ago, Admiral Skarnov's dreadnought, the Relentless Maw, engaged what they believed was a Terran relay ship in the neutral zone near the Hades fringe. His last transmission. "They're letting us board," they said, and I quote, "Be sure to knock first." What in the void is a knock? Static. Gone. 3 full battlecruisers sent in pursuit. Also vanished. No wreckage. Only one thing left behind, floating through the Hades system. A Terran helmet. Black glass. Etched with words. "You think you're the monsters. We buried ours." "Commander," Hrask whispered. "The humans, they wanted us to engage." Vectal turned slowly. "Explain." "They provoked us. Broadcast coordinates. Showed weakness. They let us win the first few battles. But every time we lost something. Not just ships. Whole supply chains. Drones corrupted. Planets altered." "Altered." Hrask nodded grimly. "Terraforming signatures. But inverted. The atmosphere becomes heavier. Toxic. But only for Varnock bioforms. Our scouts suffocate in seconds. And the humans, they walk through it laughing." In orbit around Calyx 7, The Varnock 12th Fleet had prepared an ambush, 52 warships, including 3 Devastators. The Terran response? 1 freighter. It coasted into orbit, no weapons powered, and simply broadcast a loop of some ancient human phrase. "Come and get it." The Varnock fired. The freighter exploded. And Calyx 7 ignited. Planetary core rupture. Magma chain reaction. The 12th Fleet never even saw the real Terran ships hiding in the black beyond the sun. The predator-prey hierarchy was fracturing. That was when the reports from the Zendha arrived. The Zendha were another predator species, minor compared to the Varnock, but cunning. For decades, they'd studied Terran behavior from afar. Biological anomalies, strange tactics, near-suicidal strategies that somehow worked. Their scientists had concluded something the Varnock refused to believe. Humans weren't apex predators. They were apex survivors. And that made them worse. Prey ran. Predators hunted. But survivors adapted. They became the thing that would outlive everything else. Back in the war chamber, Vektal stared at the hologram now flickering above the tactical table. A distorted Terran face. Male. Pale skin, short hair, one eye clearly cybernetic. He wore no insignia. No rank. Just a jacket. On his chest was a stitched word. Reclamation. His voice was calm. To the Varnock Empire, we saw what you did to the Skreath. To the Trellex. To the singing cradle of IAX. You called it purification. We call it extinction. You think we're weak because we smile. Because we joke. Because we hesitate. You're right. We were weak. Until we remembered. We didn't come to survive this war. We came to end it. Then the message ended. Repeating in every system. Including homeworld space. A lieutenant burst into the chamber, panting, arms slashed. Sir. They've bypassed outer sensors. Multiple human ships just appeared above high orbit command. What? How? No FTL signature. No gate breaches. They came from beneath the crust. There's a Terran base on our moon. How long? We don't know. They've been here for years. Hidden. Why didn't sensors detect? The lights went red. Every console shut down. An override message replaced the interface. The hunt is over. Now it's our turn. Vektal reached for his pulse blade. His war instincts surged. But then, slowly, chillingly, the chamber filled with a sound no Varnock had ever heard on their homeworld. Footsteps. Heavy. Measured. Coming closer. Not claws. Not hooves. Boots. One by one, shadows moved behind the translucent walls. 2 meters tall. Bipedal. Silent. Then came the tapping. Tap, tap, tap. Metal on glass. Like a finger knocking. Then a human voice. No threat. No demand. Just a whisper. Knock, knock. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of knuckles rapping gently against reinforced Varnock alloy echoed like a death knell. High Commander Vektal turned slowly toward the sound, against every instinct screaming to run. No Varnock ran. Not even when the air smelled like blood and the shadows moved wrong. On the other side of the command chamber's translucent wall, a tall figure stood in partial silhouette, motionless, casual. Not armored. Not armed. Just present. A human. The lights dimmed. Then cut completely. No backup systems. No emergency power. The Varnock capital's high orbit command was running on nothing. EMP. Hrask hissed beside him, retractable fangs exposed. No, Vektal growled. This is worse. How? They shut us down without firing a shot. Suddenly, the wall blinked open. Not exploded. Not breached. Just slid apart, as if it belonged to the humans now. And the man walked in. 6 more followed behind him. All wore the same insignia, a black patch with a silver symbol, 3 claw marks carved through a red circle. The lead Terran smiled like this was a visit. Hi. I'm Colonel Elias Wren. This facility now belongs to the Reclamation Directive. He paused. Please don't resist. It won't go well. Vektal lunged. It was a reflex. A Varnock reaction coded in blood and instinct. Claws extended, pulse blade humming, he aimed straight for the Terran's throat. Colonel Wren moved. Not fast. Efficient. In one pivot, he redirected Vektal's wrist, cracked his elbow, flipped him, and pinned him flat. Face down. One boot on his spine. No bluster. No scream. Cute blade, Wren said, tossing the weapon aside. We used to use those. In middle school. Hrask shrieked and launched forward. Another human stepped in, a woman this time. One step, one punch, one crunch, Hrask collapsed, convulsing. Vektal gasped. You shouldn't be able to. Wren looked down, eyes like frost. You thought we were prey. But we never were. You've just never fought someone who already survived extinction. The room lit again. Not from within, but from orbit. The sky turned to fire. Hundreds of Terran ships uncloaked across the Varnock homeworld stratosphere. Black angular hulls. No energy spikes. No engines humming. Silent as death. Each broadcast a single signal, repeating endlessly. Operation Scythe Protocol. Phase 2 initiated. On every Varnock world, it began at once. Their gravity weapons shut down. Their blacksite labs went dark. Drones fell from the sky like metal rain. Entire satellite grids turned and began scanning their own cities. It's not an invasion, whispered Hrask through broken mandibles. It's a reboot, said Wren. 4 years, the Varnock believed the Terrans had fled. In reality, they had buried themselves deep, embedding in every system the Varnock touched. Data, infrastructure, even genetic logs. Especially genetic logs. Because Operation Scythe wasn't just a strike. It was a harvest. Meanwhile, in orbit above Varnock Colony 9B, Captain Samira Cade stood on the bridge of the ISS Hammerfall, teeth clenched, eyes fixed on the screen. Begin transmission, she ordered. A young comms officer blinked. To who? She pointed at the Varnock planetary net. All of them. The audio played through every speaker, every signal, even emergency bands. We gave you a chance. When you slaughtered the IAX Children's Choir, we still gave you a chance. When you vivisected our diplomats, still, we hesitated. You saw empathy as weakness. You saw mercy as prey behavior. Now you'll see what we buried beneath it. She leaned forward. Voice cold. Humans don't hunt for sport. We hunt because something dared to hunt us first. On the Varnock frontier worlds, human operatives, sleeper cells long embedded, activated simultaneously. Each detonated neural disruptors designed specifically for Varnock physiology. Not to kill. To paralyze. To force them to watch. Watch as humans seized their worlds, not with brute force, but with strategy. They rerouted power grids, ignited orbital foundries, reverse-engineered war beasts into defensive guardians, and turned the Varnock's own predator genome against them, triggering dormant fear responses buried for millions of years. For the first time in eons, Varnock panicked. But not all humans made it out. In Sector 44R, Specialist Gina Hoyt triggered the last phase of a deep-core detonation meant to cripple the Varnock's largest weapons forge. She could have waited for extraction. She didn't. Instead, she activated the timer manually when the remote failed. Her last words, recorded by her embedded AI. Make sure they know we chose this. The explosion turned the entire forge moon into vapor. Human losses, 17. Varnock losses, 11,000. Strategic cost, incalculable. Moral impact, devastating. Back in the command chamber, Wren stood before the bound Vektal. You thought you could break us, he said. But you never understood the paradox. Vektal hissed. What paradox? Wren leaned close. That mercy requires strength. Real strength. Because we're the only species that chooses not to kill everything weaker. He straightened. You didn't take our restraint as noble. You took it as cowardice. So we stopped restraining. He walked away. Over his shoulder, he said. Now you get to learn what mercy was protecting you from. But all was not perfect. In the shadows of the Terran advance, a new pattern emerged. On Varnock death moons thought abandoned, Terran recon teams found strange signs. Symbols etched into the walls, not of Varnock origin. Organic structures, but not Varnock biotech. Bones, too large, too old. Human DNA traces where no humans had ever been. On board the ISS Requital, orbiting the scorched ruins of Gorth Prime, Admiral Schwelly stared at the alien corpse suspended in the medchamber. It was Varnock-shaped, but wrong. Too tall. Hollow bones. Teeth like razors and eyes of void. And in its chest, an organ that matched human biology. Dr. Alawari looked up from her scans, visibly shaken. "This isn't one of theirs," she said. "It's one of ours." Admiral Schwelly didn't flinch as the autopsy room's environmental seal hissed closed behind her. The corpse floated in suspension, limbs too long, musculature deceptively lean. The skin was ash-gray, veined with faintly bioluminescent lines. The teeth didn't just cut, they latched. And the eyes, vast black spheres that reflected no light, no emotion. Human DNA in its chest cavity. Not a trace, an organ. Something grown. Something fused. She turned to Dr. Alawari, whose hands still trembled. "You're sure?" Alawari nodded. "We double-checked it. Triple-checked. That organ is biologically human. Engineered from Earthborn DNA. But that thing isn't. No. It's older. Much older." Admiral Lee stared into the void eyes of the corpse. "Then the question isn't how it has human DNA." She narrowed her gaze. "It's why." Back on the surface of the Varnock homeworld, chaos reigned. Not from war, but from silence. After the human assault, the Varnock Empire, once spanning hundreds of worlds, had crumbled in days. Not because they were wiped out. Because they surrendered. The predators had finally tasted helplessness. But it wasn't humanity that brought them to their knees. It was what came after. Terran teams investigating reclaimed Varnock sites began disappearing. Entire research outposts vanished. Surveillance feeds cut to static. Marines sent to recover them returned without memories, or didn't return at all. Colonel Elias Wren stood before a war council assembled aboard the ISS Defiant Horizon. His voice was flat. No bravado now. Something's interfering with time-locked AI cores. Tactical memory bleed. Chronodrift anomalies in recovered Varnock data. And this. He brought up a holoframe. It showed a map. Then overlaid it with ancient star charts pulled from forgotten Screeth libraries and Trellex memory spores. The symbols aligned. A forgotten region beyond mapped space. A void. In the center, one name. The Unhallowed Cradle. Dr. Alawari's voice came over the channel. "That's where the DNA came from. It's where the Varnock found them." Wren's eyes narrowed. "You mean the Varnock didn't create those things?" "No. They found them. Sleeping. Preserved. And they tried to harness them." Admiral Schwelly joined the feed. "Then they woke something worse. The Terrans called them the Hollow Kin. First spotted in fractured signals from the void. Vague humanoid shapes drifting between FTL corridors. Ships that slipped through solid matter. Technologies that shouldn't exist. No energy signature. No heat. No detectable mass. But where they appeared, stars died. Operation Scythe is now terminated," Admiral Lee announced. "The Varnock aren't the enemy anymore." That statement alone would have been unthinkable a month ago. "Then what's the play?" asked Wren. Lee answered without blinking. "Containment. We are moving everything we have toward the Unhallowed Cradle. And if they're already out..." She gave him a long look. "Then we stop them before they reach Earth." The last stand began with a message. Not from the Terrans. Not from the Varnock. From them. Broadcast on a frequency no known tech could transmit. Not sound. Not thought. Something between. One phrase, repeated endlessly across every frequency, biological or mechanical. "You were the first. Now you will be the last." Back in orbit over the ruined Varnock moon forge, Wren stood watching the starfield shift. No movement, his second-in-command whispered. "But space feels wrong. Like it's watching." They weren't paranoid. They were right. One by one, stars blinked out. Not from natural decay. From deliberate annihilation. Every system aligned with the unhallowed cradle was collapsing. Then came the ripping. Like space was being peeled open. The first hollow kin emerged from a fissure near the Seriphus Nebula. Not flying. Not moving. Just existing. Reality bent around them. Ships drifted toward them. No engines, no control. Pulled by some impossible force. A Terran scout vessel fired preemptively. The blast never hit. It slowed, frozen mid-beam, then reversed, unraveling back into its cannon. The entire ship imploded seconds later. Terran Command enacted Protocol Hellmouth, a last resort directive meant for interdimensional threats. The cost was high. Every human ship equipped with a Neurosync AI sacrificed it, burning the mind core to create psychic shielding across the fleet. The AIs died screaming. But it worked. Human ships could now see the hollow kin without being erased. They could resist. Admiral Lee addressed every soldier, operative, and colonist in Terran space. "We are not the apex anymore. We were never the top of the food chain. We just forgot what hunted us first. But we are human. And we don't run. We adapt. We endure. And when the monsters come, we become something worse." Colonel Wren assembled the last offensive unit. Task Force Leviathan. Elite Terran operators with modified psych-resonant armor, genetically adapted to resist hollow field decay. Volunteers only. No return guaranteed. The mission: enter the unhallowed cradle. Detonate the stellar collapse device. Seal the breach permanently. The odds: non-existent. They launched anyway. Inside the breach, time fractured. Wren saw flashes of humanity's past, Earth burning, the moon shattered, Mars screaming. But none of it had happened. They were memories of possible futures. Visions broadcast by the hollow kin. Temptations. Warnings. Punishments. Wren ignored them. He didn't fear what might come. He feared letting it happen. At the cradle's heart, they found it. A sphere. Vast. Pulsing. Alive. The source of the hollow kin. Inside it, humans. Suspended. Preserved. Ancient. Their tech predated Earth's recorded history. Their DNA matched Wren's. Matched every soldier. These weren't ancestors. They were failures. The last time humanity reached beyond the stars, they created gods they couldn't control. And buried the truth. The sphere spoke in all voices. "We were you. You failed then. You will fail again." Colonel Wren's voice cut through the storm. "We might. But we'll do it on our terms." And he pressed the trigger. Earth's sky turned black at noon. Not from clouds. Not from ash. From stars going out. One by one, constellations winked into nothingness. Telescopes reported impossible gravitational anomalies. Systems light-years apart collapsed in perfect sequence, as if something ancient had drawn a line across the galaxy and began erasing it. And then, silence. No transmissions. No hollow kin sightings. No confirmation that Colonel Elias Wren or Task Force Leviathan had survived. Only the void. High Commander Vektal, once Predator Prince of the Varnock, stood in chains aboard the ISS Hammerfall, Earth's flagship carrier. He had not been tortured. Not interrogated. Just left to observe. They had not paraded him. They had not gloated. That terrified him more than any war cry. The humans no longer needed vengeance. Because now, they understood the stakes. "I never believed you'd spare me," Vektal said to Admiral Schwelly. She didn't look up from her data slate. "We didn't," she replied. "You just stopped being the problem." Vektal growled. "And the creatures from the cradle?" Lee met his gaze for the first time. "They weren't invaders." She tapped the slate. "They were our future. A failed one. One we locked away." The stellar collapse device had worked, partially. The unhallowed cradle was gone. The breach was sealed. But not before something escaped. In the days after the detonation, Earth's magnetosphere destabilized for 36 minutes. Every bird on the planet flew in the same direction. Whale songs across 5 oceans synchronized into a single tone. All sleep cycle monitors recorded simultaneous REM anomalies. And then, a child was born. She had no name, no heartbeat. Yet she breathed. DNA results returned in seconds. Colonel Elias Wren's genetic signature. Deep under the surface of Luna, where Terran Black Site Zero existed off-record, Dr. Alawari stared into the newborn's eyes. They were pitch black. Not in color. In content. "You're not him," she whispered. The child blinked. Slowly. "No," it said. "But he was me." The voice was not of a newborn, nor entirely human. In orbit, Admiral Lee convened the last War Council. The galaxy was watching. Even the remnants of the Varnock Empire had tuned in. "This is not a peace summit," she said. "This is a warning." She looked into the broadcast. "We are not your apex predators. We are not your prey. We are the storm you survived to become something greater. We met our future, and we burned it. But it left something behind. A message. Predators hunt for survival. Monsters hunt for pleasure. But humanity, we hunt the things that should never exist." She ended the transmission. Every species, every empire, every warlord and trader across the stars replayed her words for generations. And slowly, the galaxy changed. Not from conquest. From fear. Years passed. The Hollow Kin did not return. But their echo lingered. Across fractured battlefields and scorched moons, Terran operatives discovered black obelisks that pulsed with time-locked messages, remnants of possible futures. Each whispered the same phrase in 1,000 dialects. Your extinction was postponed, not prevented. The child grew quickly. Too quickly. Her name was eventually chosen, Leora Wren. She knew things no one taught her. How to reprogram a tactical AI with humming. How to shut down a gravity drive with a thought. How to see things that no one else could. On her 16th birthday, she asked a question that silenced the Terran assembly. "If we sealed the breach," she said, "why am I still hearing them?" Admiral Shue Li stood before her one last time. "You're part of it," she said. "Part of them." Leora nodded. "And part of him. Then who are you, really?" Leora smiled. "Not cruel. Not kind. Just human." "I'm the child of extinction," she whispered. "I'm the reason it hesitated. The final battle never came. Because Earth didn't wait. Terran fleets, rebuilt, rearmed, reimagined, launched toward the edge of known space. Not in conquest. In containment. They didn't raise flags or sing anthems. They carried no heraldry. Just the words stitched into every uniform sleeve. We survived the monsters. Now we hunt the ones still hiding." Vectal, freed at last, returned to the ashes of his empire. He was not a ruler anymore. But when his hatchlings asked what happened, what truly happened, he did not tell them about lasers or ships or collapsing stars. He told them about the moment the galaxy realized it had never been the apex predator. And the species it feared most was the one that smiled when Khorne